All right. So, welcome to Understanding AI for Classified. I'm just going to whip through the Zoom etiquettes real quick. This session is being recorded. So, if you prefer your face not to be seen on the recording, go ahead and turn your video off. If you can please remain on mute throughout the duration of the presentation, we'll be using the chat feature to host and answer all questions. So, please go ahead and put your questions in the chat as we talk. Um, a link to the slide deck was provided in the chat. Brenda will be posting that again for those of you that maybe just joined. And then you can also see the link to the presentation at the bottom of this slide if you want to type that into a browser as well. And then just to repeat, please use that lovely chat feature as we go through the presentation. All right. Oh, and we should probably introduce ourselves. Hi, I'm Dorothy Carlson. I'm an ed tech coach here at Poway Unified. And this is Brenda Gillis. She's also an ed tech coach here at Poway Unified. And we're thrilled that you are here for Understanding AI. All right, these are our four major topics today. We're going to start with digital citizenship as a foundation for AI use. Then we'll get into some best practices and considerations to take in mind before using AI for anything work related. Then we'll model some tools and examples of how you could use that to enhance your workflow and maybe be a little bit more efficient. And then we'll have time at the end for some exploration and some resources lists. All right, so we're going to get started with digital citizenship, and Brenda's going to take it away.
All right, thanks, Dorothy. So you may have heard the district's district-wide initiative on digital citizenship. We are working with all schools TK-12 across the district to ensure that our students understand the tools that they're using online and the impact that usage can have on themselves as well as their interactions with others. And we've partnered with a company called a nonprofit organization called Common Sense Media, and they provide all of the lessons that our teachers are using in their classrooms with students to work on things like media balance, privacy, security, how they can best represent themselves online. And if you haven't heard of Common Sense Media, they also offer a variety of resources to parents and those interested in learning more just about digital citizenship, or if you are taking your kids or grandkids or nieces and nephews to a movie, they will actually review movies and tell you the parts in which you might want to cover their ears or eyes. So it's a pretty handy resource if you haven't seen Common Sense Media. We do have a link a little bit later in the slide deck for you as well to their website. Or if you're just interested in knowing a little bit more about digital citizenship and even the lessons that are being taught in the classrooms across our district. So what is a digital citizen and what does it mean to be a good digital citizen? A digital citizen is someone who uses technology responsibly, and it's more focused on the creation as opposed to the consumption of information. And it covers things like how we can engage positively and interact and participate responsibly, ethically, and safely in the digital world, including using technology, the internet, digital devices, and then how we can adhere to guidelines, rules, and behaviors that promote positive and constructive interactions. Good digital citizens are aware of their online presence, their rights and responsibilities, and they're also mindful of things like online privacy, cyberbullying, misinformation, and digital etiquette. So how can we use all of these powers of that digital world for good? And we talk a lot about students being good digital citizens, but as adults, and especially as role models for either our own children and or those that we interact with through work, it is really important to continue modeling digital citizenship and as well as being aware of, again, not just those rights, but also the responsibilities and the privacy issues that can come up for all of us. So we'll talk a little bit more about that as we go through exploring AI. In order to be responsible users of AI or artificial intelligence, we need to understand what it is. And part of that is understanding how it works, the implications for ethical use, and the limitations that come along with it. So we're going to talk about it as yet another evolution in this cycle of innovative practices that and innovative technologies that keep emerging. We think back to when email was first introduced and how that changed the way that we communicated with people, not just that we were able to send messages, instantly, but also there was some formality that changed, right, in the way that we talked and interacted with people, as well as the response times that we were expecting. So email changed that for us. And then, we have things like Google and being able to search on the internet, and then that power being, in the palm of our hands or in the pockets of students as we're trying to teach lessons or interact with them, and they're distracted by how much information they can get to instantaneously. And now we have artificial intelligence, and we need to think about what are the implications for that moving forward, and how we can help guide our students to use that technology in a positive manner. So Dorothy is going to walk us through understanding what artificial intelligence is and how things like ChatGPT work and function.
All right. Thank you so much, Brenda. So, understanding AI is part of being a good digital citizen, and of course, modeling that for our students and for our children. So, let's get a little bit deeper into understanding what is AI and how does it work. The first thing that you might want to be aware of is that we're already living with AI. You might have an Alexa or you may have used Siri. That is a type of AI technology that can produce a result for you just verbally. So you can ask Alexa, for example, set a cooking timer for me, right? Or play a certain song, or I'm in a bad mood, play something upbeat, and it'll find just what you want to listen to from your previous listens, right? So that's an AI technology called it predictive AI. And it's kind of wonderful. Like, I know when I'm cooking, I love being able to set a timer and not have to actually touch the oven with my greasy fingers, right? Uh, so part of being a digital citizen, though, is understanding that Alexa is always listening to me, though. So am I okay with that in order to not have to touch my timer? Sometimes, yes, I am. I really don't want to touch the timer, and it's okay that she heard my bad joke with my husband, right? But I need to understand that she's always listening. Netflix is another type of AI that you might be familiar with. Netflix is also predictive AI. It keeps track of the shows that you watch, how long you hover on those previews, how many trailers you watch, and then it makes predictions for what the next show is that you might like. And then that's how you find yourself in those binge situations, right? And that's wonderful. I've discovered some things that I never would have watched before on my own. However, I need to understand that Netflix is also tracking and storing my viewing data. And am I okay with that in order to get the convenience of the next Bridgerton season or whatever the case may be, right? So generative AI works in a similar way. So you may have heard of some platforms like ChatGPT, for example. It's generative AI because it not only predicts what you would want, but it can generate something brand new for you. So, like writing an email or creating an image. Generative AI also works off of your data and the prompt that you give it. So we're going to get a little bit deeper into, well, what data and how does it do that on the next slide. But before we get there, something to know about AI is that it's growing, it's changing, it's advancing and innovative in some really kind of cool ways. And while that may change some things in our workday, so maybe making some processes more efficient, kind of like Brenda mentioned earlier, where email made response times a little faster, we can create things a little bit more quickly with AI. It won't do the things that people do, like build relationships or have empathy. It can't actually think, right? So there are some very distinct human things that it won't replace. And it's also creating jobs. So one of the number one trending jobs recently on LinkedIn was an AI prompt engineer. So getting prompts exactly right so that AI actually makes what you want it to make. There's a new type of CEO called Chow. It's the Chief AI Officer. So it's not exactly how Chow is spelled, but close. So it's creating jobs as well as innovating some of our workflows as well. So, and it's very much part of our future and part of students' future as well. So let's get into some considerations as we dive a little bit deeper into using AI. So the first consideration is that green box. It's digital citizenship. It is the foundation for the ethical use of any AI tool and really any digital platform at all. So you've got to understand, what is it that I'm using? How does it work? What is it doing with my data? How can I use this in a transparent way? And what is my expectation for the output? Which is that second bullet, setting a purpose for use. What is it that you want AI to create? What does that look like in your head? Is it matching that? Who else might be looking at the thing that you create? And what does it look like from their perspective? And what are the considerations that audience might want me to think about before I publish this and put it out? That third bullet is think beyond consumption and towards advocacy. AI is such a powerful tool to create these really innovative things and help us work more quickly so we can do the more critical thinking pieces. So we don't have to just consume what AI gives us. We can also evaluate, is this valid? Is this missing a perspective? Is this even what I wanted to create, right? And do I want to use this? And we can start advocating for ourselves as a user and for the audiences that we put our things out to. And that last bullet is fair use, citation, and transparency. We want to make sure that we're not stealing other people's work when we ask AI to create things, that we're citing AI if that's applicable for what we're doing. MLA has actually put out some guidelines for citation, and just being transparent that we're using it. Like we would never accuse a kid for Google searching something instead of using an encyclopedia as cheating. That's just being efficient, right? AI can be the same thing. It's just an efficiency tool. So let's just be transparent that we're using it. It's not cheating, right? Especially when it comes to some of those workflow pieces. If you want to dive deeper into the digital citizenship piece of AI use, you can click on that Common Sense Media link. That's the nonprofit that Brenda mentioned earlier. Or you can take a look at the fireside chat between Saul Khan, who's the founder of Khan Academy, and Hadi Partovi, who is the founder of Code.org. They've been integral in using AI and on the frontier of AI in education. And it's about a half-hour video that goes over what AI is, how it works, ethical considerations, and digital citizenship when it comes to education. So it's a great listen, especially if you're nerdy like me. The second consideration is that blue box, it's bias. So how AI works, or sorry, how generative AI works is on a large language model platform. So that's what LLM in that box stands for. And it basically works off of a prompt that you give it, so a topic, and then it scours the internet for anything related to that at incredible speed, pulls in all of that language based on whatever topic you gave it, and then makes statistical predictions about what it is you might want, literally down to the letter. This is especially true with writing, but it's also true like when it's generating images and even videos, right? Those are all statistical predictions based on all of the language out there on the internet about the topic that you give it. So if you think about the broad scope of the internet, there's a lot out there. And then if you add the layer of it's only pulling data from 2021 or newer, especially in the case for a platform you might be familiar with called ChatGPT, the 3.5. And it's 2021 partly because of some copyright issues. So that's all new stuff. So if you can imagine what's on the internet, and it's pulling from all of that without vetting what's good, what's credible, and then creating a product based on what's statistically in that language, you might get some funky stuff, right? Depending on your topic. Because large language models, and this is that second bullet, they don't vet whether a source is credible or not. They go with whether it's numerous or not. So if you, for example, there was a video created by an AI platform about Barbies around the world, and the Sudanese Barbie was pictured with a rifle in her hand. Why? Because that's what's in the news currently. And it didn't know that that was bad. It just knows that there's numerous language out there about that. So as a consumer, you need to really advocate for yourself and evaluate the output that you get from any AI platform. If you'd like more information about that, that's that third bullet about the digital promise and what ed tech and AI have to do with bias, because you can imagine the bias that exists on the internet that sometimes will be reflected in your AI outputs. The last consideration is that purple box. It's privacy and security. So you can see the age restriction examples that we give there. Bard, which is Google's answer to ChatGPT, is 18 or over. And then ChatGPT is 13 or over with parent permission. So you might be thinking, well, how does ChatGPT get that parent permission? So when you or any other person accesses ChatGPT, you're asked to create an account. And in part of that account creation, it's linked to an email, and the users ask how old they are, and if they're a minor, do they have parent permission? So it's about clicking and yes, I am, and being honest. You're also agreeing to some terms and acceptable use policies for that platform. So part of that, and we click those all the time when we sign up for accounts, and hardly anybody ever reads them. Part of what's in there is how the platform is allowed to use your data. And if you agree to it, some platforms are using your data to learn. That's how large language models work, right? The more data, the better outputs it can create because it has more to learn from. And in some cases, those platforms are selling your data to third-party providers. So as an educational place, thank you, whew, words. So there are some very particular rights that students have that protect their data privacy. So some laws out there are FERPA, COPA, and PPRA. And students have specific rights to have their educational data protected. So we're encouraging teachers, for example, to not use ChatGPT as part of their assignments, because ChatGPT will not sign a data privacy agreement with the district. And the reason why is because that's how their large language model learns and gets better, and they want to continue that. Other platforms will sign a data privacy agreement. So we're going to model two tools today. Ooh, that's a tough one today, that have data privacy agreements with the district. One is Canva and one is Magic School AI. And there are others out there that also have data privacy agreements. And what that means is that Poway Unified has control over student data, and that data is kept in what's called a walled garden and not sold to third-party providers. So anytime you are using an AI platform, be really mindful of student data and even your own privacy when you're signing up for that account. As an adult, you have all the rights in the world to agree to those terms and agreement and say, yes, you can use my data, or not. Students, however, often cannot agree to that for themselves. That's where parents come in. So that's why the data privacy agreement is really important when students are using platforms. Even as an adult, if you're using an AI platform, it's really important to consider not putting any student data into that platform. So if you're asking AI to maybe rewrite an email so that you sound more friendly, be sure you take out maybe a student name or any personally identifiable information in the prompt that you give AI, especially if there's no data privacy agreement with that platform. Okay, so that was a lot. Those are the considerations for AI. and things to think about before using a platform. But AI can do a ton of really cool things. And Brenda's going to take us into some of those cool things.
All right, thanks, Dorothy. So we're going to start talking about AI in the workplace. So ways that you might think about using it to help you in your daily tasks. And we'll share a couple of resources with you as well. And before we dive into that, just a reminder around digital citizenship really being that foundation for using tools. And as Dorothy was saying, it is your responsibility to be part of the protection of student data. So if you are using, the example about sending a parent email about an incident that happened on campus, and you're asking AI to do some editing for you or rewrite for clarification, because it can be a pretty handy kind of proofreading partner for you. Just make sure that you're removing any personally identifiable information before you put that prompt into AI. And again, just that emphasis around digital citizenship isn't just for students, it is for adults as well. We're really saying that when we are being digital citizens, that we understand the biases and the limitations, many of which Dorothy just went over with you. Those privacy considerations are all part of being a responsible AI user. And you, as that end user, the person who is creating that output, you are really ultimately responsible for mitigating those biases that may be included, validating the accuracy of the information if you're going to be sharing it. And again, that safeguarding of student information and using it transparently. Remember too, it's not a Google search. It's not going to necessarily give you exactly what you want if you input 3 words into it. So you can see kind of by our graphic down here at the bottom, really setting a purpose for your use and engineering the prompt is going to give you output that more closely resembles exactly what it is that you're after. Looking at our graphic again, that arrow goes both ways. So this can really be an iterative process. Like, I'm going to try this, I'm going to see what I get, and then maybe I need to do some fine tuning on my prompt in order to get that output closer to exactly what it is that I want. And then as far as that transparency goes, you can see the image that we have over here on the left was actually created using one of the tools in Canva that we'll show you in just a few minutes. That Canva Magic Media is what we used. We just put in a prompt and asked it to generate an administrative assistant using AI in their daily work. And this is one of the images that it came back with. So we'll show you how you can use that. And then again, just being transparent about this is where this image came from, just like you would credit anybody else's photo, assigning that credit to the AI platform that you're using. All right. Some more tips about engineering a prompt. I think Dorothy mentioned this, but prompt engineer is an actual job. And as you can see, and if you are going to be trying out AI, you'll notice that the more specific you can be, the more valuable the output that you're going to get out of that platform will be. And so we just have a couple of reminders here for you. An example of engineering the prompt, things that you might want to consider when you're evaluating the output. And then these query suggestions are also helpful. Using relevant keywords, enclosing exact text in quotes or phrases in quotes, being very clear and specific in what you want it to be, what you want it to do, the type of output you're looking for. Are you looking for a creative answer to a question that you're asking? Are you asking AI to read an email and write it with a more empathetic tone? Are you putting it in the position of being a principal at a middle school responding to a very upset parent? All of those kinds of pieces of information can really help improve the output that you're getting from the AI platform. We also have for you here a link down at the bottom to the AI for Education prompt library. It has a lot of examples in there of AI prompts. And if you're new to using it, it can be a pretty handy place to start. So you get an idea of the types of things that you can put into a request. And then, as Dorothy mentioned, there are some platforms that the district has data privacy agreements in place with. And those are ones that we're going to model for you today. If you're interested in using another one, you can always reach out and ask us if it is one that we have a privacy agreement with. And if it's not and you still want to use it, you are an adult and responsible for your own information and privacy. So that's entirely up to you. But just so you know, some of these resources that we have in here may reference platforms that we do not have an agreement in place with. But the two we're going to show you today, we definitely do. So let's move on to those. We're going to start with Canva. And if you don't know, you have a free Canva account through the district. You can access it through My Plan. Let's see. It's just this little icon here, a little Canva icon. You can click on it the first time you log in. If you haven't been into it before, it's going to prompt you, and you can just log in with Google. And then it will take you, Canva is a design platform. You can create slide decks with it. You can create documents. You can make t-shirts. There's all kinds of things that you can do in Canva. It has a ton of templates and resources. Students also have Canva accounts. However, students do not have access to the AI features within Canva that we're going to be showing you today. They do not have access to them yet. If that changes, there will certainly be announcements made and notifications that would go out. The features within Canva that are AI are called magic. So anything called magic, whatever, within Canva, there's magic write, magic design, magic grab, magic switch, magic media. We're only going to go over a couple of them, but if you are curious about more of the magic features, you'll see Magic Studio is linked here from the homepage within Canva. They have really quick videos that go through all of the features. So if there's something you're interested in, I highly recommend taking a look at those to see if they answer your questions. And if not, you're more than welcome to reach out to our team, and we're happy to help you. Again, because prompt engineering can be time consuming, we do have some sample prompts that we came up with ahead of time, so we didn't need to spend our time creating the prompt. We're just going to go ahead and copy some of these samples, and we shared them with you in case you want to try them out in some different platforms. So this one is an example of a prompt to a parent email. You're an elementary school site assistant who's responding to the parent email below. This parent is complaining about an incident that happened on the playground. I'm just going to copy this prompt, and I'm going to go back into Canva. I've opened a document here. So my type of creation is going to be a document. And when I hover over this plus, it has this prompt to add magic. I'm going to add magic right. So I'm just going to click on that. And then I'm going to paste in that prompt that I copied from the other page and click generate. You'll see that it moves pretty quickly. And here is the letter that it generated. Dear parent, thank you for bringing this to our attention. Again, being critical consumers, I want to read through this. I might want to make some edits so that it sounds more the way that I would say it, or more the way if I was writing for the principal or something. And then this is the part where it's up to you to decide, what do I want to say? What do I not like the phrasing of? What am I going to rewrite, right? Because ultimately, if this is something you're going to be sending out to a parent, you want to make sure that it's representing you and the message that you want to send accurately. So that is an example of Magic Write. Another awesome feature within Canva is a translation tool. I know many of our families speak multiple languages, and English may not be their first language. Canva offers a translation tool, and this works on documents as well as on PDFs. So if you have a PDF that you need translated, it can be a really handy tool for you. If you don't yet have, I'm way over on the left-hand side in the global navigation on my Canva page. If you don't already have this translate button there, you're going to find it under apps. So the same will be true. I'm going to show you Magic Media in just a little bit. Again, if you don't have that popping up on your global navigation bar, you're just going to find it in apps. If you go into apps and you type in translate, it will pull up the little translate tool. And once you click on it, it will add it to your global navigation. So you only have to add that app one time. Same thing with the Magic Media. You'll see there's a bunch of other tools in there as well. So if you haven't added some of those to your Canva experience, you might want to check those out at some point. For the translate tool, I'm just going to click on it. It's going to ask me to select text. I'm going to select however much text I want. You could also select the whole thing. You'll see that it's added it to this preview bar over here. And then I have a drop down here to select the language that I'd like it translated into. I am not a linguist or a language expert, but from what I have heard, the reviews for the translator are quite good. And so I have, a generous amount of faith in the translation abilities of the Canva tool. I'm not saying it's perfect, but the reviews on it are quite good. And then I'm just going to hit translate when I'm ready. You'll see that it run through, and then all of the text that I had highlighted over here in my document is now translated into the language I selected. All right. Another great tool, again, if you don't have it in your global navigation, you'll find it under apps, is this Magic Media. And this is the one that we use to generate the image that we had on that earlier slide in our slide deck. I don't know. I'm stuck on this one, I guess. So I'm going to say a single student using crosswalk in traffic. And then I'm going to say generate image. So this is a text to image with Magic Media in Canva. And this one's a little bit slower because it's got to go out and search for all of those key terms that I've entered. Again, the more specific I can be, let's say I don't want a single student, maybe I want 3 students, or maybe I want 4 students. Maybe I want it to be a photograph, or maybe I want it to be a drawing. Do I want them in a crosswalk, out of a crosswalk? Is there traffic? Is there not traffic? All of those kinds of details you can add in. So this could be handy if you were creating a presentation and you needed a very specific graphic to go along with it. It could be a really quick way to get to what it is that you need without you having to generate it completely on your own. And then you can just click on it and you can see that it just added it right into my doc. Or if I was creating a presentation there, or maybe I needed to just create a JPEG file to download and then upload into another presentation, I can do any of those things with it. All right. One more thing I want to show you in Canva, and then we're going to switch over and Dorothy's going to show you some of what Magic School can do for you. We talked about this a little bit before, that platforms vary in their output, and that it's really going to be kind of a personal preference and trial and error on your part to see which ones work for you and which ones are giving you the kind of output you want based on your use scenario. So in Canva, I'm going to go back to our sample prompts. And for this example, I'm using this staff email prompt. So you're a school site administrative assistant who's composing an email to staff about end of year timelines. I have a bunch of dates and times and procedures in here. When I paste this into Canva Magic, right? This is the letter that I get back. I can read through it. I can make sure that it didn't mess up any of my dates or times. Maybe I don't like the wording on something. I can edit it if I want to. But that is the Canva result for that prompt. If I place the same exact prompt into Magic School, where are you? Where did I put it? Is that it? No, that's not it. Oh, I signed out of Magic School. Okay, well, if I'm just going to do it right now. Okay, oops. Sorry.
While Brenda gets that worked out. So I just want to put in some quick um, user considerations here. She's mentioned several times, be sure you read it, make sure it's actually what you want. Same thing with the text to image, make sure it's exactly what you want. Canva is getting better and better with the text to image technology, but especially with people, they can come out a little funky, like the eye can kind of be on the side or like the nose is kind of angled weird. So definitely take a close look at the images it generates. And also, especially with images, be sure you're looking for bias in those images as well, because it's pulling from every piece of language that's out there on the internet. And maybe that's not exactly how you wanted it to look. And just be sure you ask it to regenerate if you're noticing some things of like, oh, that doesn't fit the purpose I had for this image.
Thanks, Dorothy. All right. So you can see that this email looks significantly different than the results that I got in Canva Magic, right? This one, they've put in number order. I think the last time I did it, they were bullet points. But you can see that just the formatting is a little bit different. So again, if you're going to try out AI, you might want to try a couple of different platforms and see what the results are like. You'll need to spend some time probably, again, kind of engineering and re-engineering your prompts to get exactly what it is that you're after. But I would encourage you to explore some of those. And Dorothy is going to share with us some additional resources within Magic School AI.
Thank you, Brenda. So this is Magic School. You can access it one of two ways. You can literally Google it, Magic School AI, and it is the first link that comes up. It's also on slide 12 of our presentation, and you can just click on that icon that says Magic School. So when you first arrive at Magic School, if you've never been on before, it'll ask you to either create an account or sign in. Go ahead and sign in with your PUSD Google account. That's how you get looped into that data privacy agreement is through your Poway Unified Google account. And then once you're in, and it'll ask you the usual agree to terms account setup. And then once you're in, it'll look something like this, and you'll have an all tools menu. Magic School is an AI platform that is specifically designed for education. So you'll see tools in there like multiple choice assessments, lesson plans, report card comments. So some are teacher facing, some are administrative facing. There's something in here for anything you could possibly imagine doing at a school or at a school district. So I'm going to just show you two of them. One is the text summarizer. So Brenda's just using the search feature at the top. She's typing in text summarizer and she'll click on it. And this is useful if you have something really long that you then have to put a summary out to a different audience. So maybe you have really long meeting notes that you want to summarize for staff, or you've got a really long report that you need to summarize in an email out to parents, or you've got a really long initiative that you want to summarize in a newsletter. You can copy paste that text into the original text box. And then where it says length of summary, you can ask it to summarize in one paragraph, 5 sentences. You can ask it to include key terms, for example, and it'll push out that summary. Of course, be a digital citizen and evaluate it for accuracy and word choice and tone. You can also ask it to regenerate if it's not quite the summary that you want. And this is a huge time saver for some of those longer documents that you might need to be communicating about with others. Another one, she's going to hit the back menu or button, sorry, is the thank you note. So you might be thanking people all the time, like, thank you for coming, thank you for reaching out, thank you for volunteering. And you can, how many ways can you say thank you, right? The thank you note will generate a message for you and it'll be unique each time. So Brenda's putting in some key details about volunteering at the band tournament. You hit generate, And now we've got a nice message about volunteering at the band tournament. Maybe you only wanted one paragraph, you can tell it that, or you can just copy paste a paragraph out of here and put it in your email. Um, so this is another time saver for that communication piece. If you can go ahead and hit back for me, Brenda. The difference between Magic School and Canva, they do a lot of the same things in terms of the writing aspect of what AI can do. Magic School has done some of the prompt engineering for you. So it asks you for specific things like the text or how many sentences that you want. So whereas Canva is more of a blank slate and you can ask it to do anything. So if the prompt engineering part is maybe time consuming or frustrating for you, Magic School might be a good option because it's done some of that prompt engineering work for you. And that is Magic School. Oh, I should add, sorry, that Magic School is a free platform, but it is a freemium, which means that you can sign up for a free account and there's tons of things you can use for free on Magic School. But there's also a premium level that if you want to use the premium level, you got to pay for it. I have a free account and I have not run into anything where I just, oh gosh, I wish I had premium to do that. So that's just something to consider. Another difference between Canva and Magic School is that Canva, you have a free premium account. You can access it through My Plan. It has a data privacy agreement. Magic School is freemium. You have a free account. You cannot access it via My Plan. You'll access that by opening up a new tab and then putting in the link. So those are just two different access points. But Magic School does have a data privacy agreement with Poway Unified. So those are two tools. Here's just some ideas, some of which we've gone over, and some might be something else you'd be considering exploring for optimizing efficiency with AI. You can revise or update any kind of digital communication. So think emails, newsletters, blurbs, that kind of thing. You can produce and innovate communication or workflow processes. It can sometimes be a thought partner, like what are some ideas to make this more efficient? And it can help you with those ideas. You can organize groups for collaborative projects, give it a list of tasks and how many people you have, and it'll create different types of groups for you. Translate and adapt materials. Brenda showed that with Canva. Design a slide deck for presentations. That's with Magic Design in Canva. You can also create beautiful newsletters and visuals for websites. Brenda modeled some of that with Magic Media, and then summarizing longer text, which was Magic School. And Canva can also do that as well. This is not an exhaustive list. If you can think of something that involves a process like writing, AI can probably help you with it. So I encourage you to do a little exploring. And then
Thanks, Dorothy. If you are interested in learning more about AI, or you are curious about what those MLA guidelines for citation are, we have some links for you on the resources slide towards the end of the slide deck. And then we have an attendance link here for you to fill out. Dorothy's going to put it in the chat as well. And then you are welcome to email us if you